I finally did it. I seam ripped my terrible quilting from my quilt, and we're gonna talk about it. I'm also gonna share what else I have been working on over the weekend, and we'll go from there. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Miriam. I am obsessed with quilting, and you will see that on this channel. Those of you who know me, you already know. If you remember back about, it's been over a month, and I let this quilt sit by itself for over a month. I didn't look at it. I didn't touch it. If I ever glanced over and saw it, I was like, ugh, sinking feeling just sunk in. Because I attempted a quilting design, and it did not turn out the way that I wanted it to. That's okay. I made an entire video about that, which I will link up in the cards and also in the description box below if you would like to watch that. But basically talk about how, you know, sometimes we are going to make mistakes with quilting, with whether you're piecing blocks together and you piece something wrong, you cut something wrong, you quilt something wrong, and you just take it as a learning experience. You know, it's really, it's not that serious. It's not that big of a deal. Was I frustrated? Yes. Was I annoyed that I messed up? Of course. And that's totally fine. But I didn't let that discourage me from, you know, picking it back up a month later and getting back to work on it. So the last several nights I have been plopped on my bed, which is right over there. Because my sewing space is also my bedroom. I've been watching YouTube videos or listening to music or watching some X-Files, and I have been seam ripping. And I finally got done, I do believe, with the seam ripping, well, with the seam plucking part. Real quick. A lot of you have found me through my glue basting video, right? Glue basting is wonderful. It is such a great way to baste a quilt. However, I will tell you that there is one downside to glue basting a quilt. And that is if you do mess up your quilting, which, you know, we're not planning on that happening, but if that does happen, it's a little more tricky to seam rip a quilt that's been glue basted, because our layers of our quilt are completely glued together. You know, there's no lifting up the quilt top to seam rip quickly through those stitches. So what I did was I turned the quilt over to the back, which is this beautiful brown fabric, and I went in with my seam ripper and I broke the seam every 3 or 4 stitches. And I did that across the entire back. I have not gotten to the point where I pull the threads out yet. I wanted to show you guys what it looked like. Let me get a good shot of that here for you. Look at my cute coffee mug. It's got a mushroom on it. You guys know I love mushrooms. It's so cute. Let me move my other stuff out of the way that I'll be showing you in a minute. Let me get you up close and personal with this. So as you can see, the stitches, I broke the stitch every few stitches. And for me, this was the easiest way. If you have a different way of seam ripping and you'd like to give me a recommendation in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. But this is the way that I felt was right for this situation, since I am glue basted. And also, I am very cautious when seam ripping, because when using a seam ripper, there is a danger of accidentally ripping the fabric, and I did not want to do that. So that's number one why I seam ripped on the back of the quilt. So if I did rip or snag the fabric, it would be on the back of the quilt and not on the front, because this is my Cozy Picnic quilt, my pattern that I designed, Cozy Picnic. I did not want to rip my beautiful front of my quilt or rip out any of the extra seams or anything. So that's why I did it on the back. Now is the fun part. Kimmy is here with us. She just hopped up. She's like, wait a second. Is that my quilt? My little quilt addict. The fun part is actually pulling out the threads on the top of the quilt. So I'm gonna point this down so you can see. This is the very satisfying part of seam ripping. If you do end up having to seam rip, this is fun. Kimmy, okay, you can just sit there. All right, so what I do, this is the fun part, right? So I come to one of my stitch lines here. Doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to start like right here. Here's a stitch line right here. And I just kind of pick it with my fingernail. And since I've seam ripped all of the stitches on the back, then this should pull up very easily as one long thread. So see, I hope you can see that, but that is just coming up. Get my little snips that my friend Donna got me. These work awesome. I've been using them with my embroidery project I've been working on, and they work great. You just gently pull up the thread, just like that. I hope you can see that. Can you see that, Kimmy? Oh, Kimmy's helping. Oh, great. Oh my goodness. This cat, you are too cute. I've had her for, I think, like 3 years now, and just everything she does is still adorable to me. So you just pull it up and it just pops up real nice. And there I have a thread that came out. And so you just do that. And then on the back, then, you know, you have to take out all the little pieces of thread, which I just kind of go along with my fingernail and kind of scratch so till they come out. And then I just create a little pile off to the side. That's how I do that. I just wanted to show you that really quick and give you an update on the Cozy Picnic quilt. There is progress being made. I didn't forget about it. But yeah, I just wanted to give you an update on the Cozy Picnic quilt because I've been working on that lately. I'm just going to probably later this evening, after I'm done working, I will get the quilt and lay it out nice and flat on my lap, on my bed, and just pull out those stitches on the top and then scratch out the stitches on the back. Then I will be able to attempt round 2 of quilting this quilt. And I did a lot of thinking. I asked you guys your opinion, and I got a lot of great opinions and advice from everybody. I think I am going to attempt the circular quilting again on this quilt. I've talked to several of you about it, but pretty much I think my biggest mistake was I just jumped into it too quickly without actually thinking about my technique and kind of how I was marking the quilt, and just the way that I went about it was not correct. Now that I've thought about it a little bit, and some of you have sent me videos of like, here, you should try this technique, and that's been very helpful. And we are going to give it another shot, and I have high hopes for it. So I'll be doing that probably next week, which will be very exciting. I already have the next video planned, which I'm very excited to talk to you guys about. There may or may not be a giveaway involved later this week, so stay tuned for that. I have been working on that, and I told you guys over the weekend I would be working on some embroidery. I recently got a embroidery kit from Missouri Star Quilt Company, and that was, of course, Kimmy is laying on top of it. Excuse me, honey. So the kit that I got was this beautiful moth kit from Bothy Threads, and they have a bunch of Bothy Threads kits on Missouri Star Quilt Company's website if you are interested. I would say if you are new to embroidery, you have never done embroidery before, or you've done it a long time ago and you need a refresher, or you know, you just want a fun, stress-free project to work on while you're watching my videos or watching movies or something. This has been so much fun, and I really love the way that the instructions are written, because they're suggestions, basically. They say you can use these stitch suggestions, but if you want to use something else, you can. And the instructions are very thorough, and it comes with this beautiful card that has all the threads labeled, which is very helpful to keep all of the threads together. So I've been trying to keep that all together so I don't lose my threads. And I made pretty good progress on it over the weekend. So what happens is I should have taken a video of it before I did anything to it. But what they do is they send you, here's my piece that I've been working on. They send you 2 pieces of fabric, and one has the moth design already printed on there. And then the other is just like a backing to make it a little more sturdy, and then make it so you can't see the threads through the fabric. So it comes like that. It came with the hoop. It came with the needles. It came with the threads. It also came with beads. And the one thing that I had issue with, and I'm not sure if maybe I possibly got sent the wrong needle, or maybe I just don't know what I'm doing with threading the needle, because I am a novice at embroidery. I am not going to claim that I know what I'm doing and this was wrong, you know. I have done embroidery in the past, but it was a long time ago, and I had no idea what I was doing back then. Now I know a little bit more. Long story short, the needle that they sent for the beadwork, the eye of the needle is super small, and I was not able to even thread it. I was just having issue with it, and I just could not get that thread in it. I had one of those little, it was a cheapy one, but one of those little things that help you thread a needle, and it it like would not even fit in the eye of the needle. So it was very, very small, and I couldn't get it to work. So what I did instead was, in all of those spots where a bead was supposed to go, I did one of the most satisfying stitches I've ever learned, which I learned on this project, and that is the French knot. I had so much fun making these little French knots, you guys. Let me show you. So a French knot is basically a little tiny knot, and you get to do a bunch of little pink ones here. And there was beads were supposed to go up here, but I just did little red French knots instead. So yeah, I'll show you the thing up close. But so I've gotten a good amount of it done. I still have quite a bit to do. I need to do all of the leaves and stuff, and the white flowers, and these white flowers here. But this is so much fun. It's very relaxing. It's just really, really fun working with your hands. You know, all of my sewing, pretty much all of my sewing is done with a sewing machine, and I love my sewing machine. But just stitching with your hands, there's just something so therapeutic about it, you know? I highly recommend these kits. If you're new to embroidery, you want to have a new piece of art to hang on your wall, I'm probably just going to hang mine up like this in the hoop, because I really like that look. I think it'll look really cute. And I think it'll look really cute over somewhere on my wall over here. So I'm looking forward to finishing that so I can hang it up. So that's what I've been working on. That's what I worked on over the weekend. I also, completely off topic, but Saturday I had an awful migraine, which I do not get them very often. This type of migraine that I had, I've only had one other time before, but I basically had like this weird aura thing. I know when you hear that, people are like, yeah, okay. But if you've experienced it, you know it is not fun. And I was basically seeing like this crescent-shaped, sparkly light thing in my eyes, and it would not go away, and it was just awful. And then there was a terrible headache afterwards, so I was kind of out for the count after that. And I had been planning on working on this like all day on Saturday, and I didn't get to. So that was kind of a bummer. But I got to work on it on Sunday, and I worked on it a little bit yesterday. It's been a lot of fun to work on, and I would definitely recommend trying one of these. You can use my code for Missouri Star Quilt Company and get 20% off a $50 or more purchase. I really appreciate it when you use my link. It really helps me a lot, and wonderful. And it's great for you because you get 20% off your purchase, and they've been having some really good sales recently. So I've been keeping an eye on Missouri Star for their sales because they've been having good sales, and it's good to stock up on stuff that you know you need, right? Just thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like, please subscribe. We're going to be having a lot of fun this summer. I've got all kinds of projects planned, and I'm very excited to get into them with you guys. And I'm ready to shift from the planning stage to the actual doing stage. I'm really excited about that. I've got a new quilt pattern that I'm going to be coming out with. I'm really, really excited about this quilt. It looks so cool, and it's super beginner friendly. Like, if you've never made a quilt before, you could make this quilt, and it looks so cool. And I'm very excited about that. More about that later. First, we have to finish the cozy picnic quilt. But yeah, just thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.